Thank you for joining XR-OM, which is India's first AR/VR focused podcast. And today I'm delighted and honored to have with me Mr. Francesco Sisini, who is a quantum computing and metaverse consultant. He's a physicist with a master's degree in nuclear physics and a PhD in radioisotopic techniques. He has authored several publications on computing applied to medicines and has been a professor for the undergraduate course in computer science. Francesco has been collaborating with the physics department of Ferrara for the last 6 years, and he is currently the quantum computing expert at Swiss Institute for Disruptive Innovation, where he's leveraging virtual reality for education. So Francesco, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. A classical computer, it works with yes and no binaries. It's whether it's zeros or one. But with a quantum computer, there is superposition, where a zero could be one could be zero. Then there's quantum entanglement. So could you kind of explain these various phenomena, like a superposition or entanglement, and how that helps in the quantum computing processing?
So superposition and entanglement are two different aspects of quantum mechanics, both very relevant about quantum computing. So, and to understand what is a superposition, we have a nice mathematical description for that. So when you think a superposition, for example, you can think that 1 plus 2 is not 3, but is 1 plus 2. So superposition means that a system can be...
It can be simultaneously in a state and in another state. Okay. And this generates what is called the intrinsic parallelism of quantum mechanics. So, for example, we can, using a few qubits, analyze an exponential set of different situations. For what entanglement is concerned, it is quite different, because the entanglement between two particles, for example, we speak about two photons, means that these two particles can't be considered separately. It is as like if these two particles were one single particles together. Entanglement is fundamental for quantum computing, but it's its principal problem, because the entanglement between the quantum computer and the environment is what is not allowing the success of quantum computing.
With the quantum computing, there's something called as observer effect. Observation can change the dynamics of the processing or the calculation. Okay, can you explain that? What an observer effect is and how it affects calculation in a quantum computer?
In the classical measure, we think we can repeat the same measure as many times as we want. So if you are driving the car and we are not accelerating, we can take 20, 30 million of time the measurement of the speed of the car. But it's not the same in a quantum system. In quantum systems, on the other hand, taking a measurement is like breaking the seal. It can only be done once. Okay, so if you have a quantum system, you can make one measure on this, and then you have destroy, or the technical term is collapse. You have a collapse of the system. So you can have just this. This is the observer effect. You see, this may seem like a disadvantage, but that's how the nature works, at least as far we know so far. Okay, so
we have to know this aspect of nature, and we have used it in this way.
So, because the observer effect allows us to realize quantum algorithm, but don't only.
For example, the quantum computers that use photons use elements of linear optics, and in order to introduce the non-linear component that is needed in quantum computing, they use the measure that introduces a nonlinear component, and this is the observer effect.
We are used to, the classical physics and how the macro objects in a world are, the big things. But as soon as it goes to these small, tiny things, these particles and atoms, it starts behaving extremely weirdly. But like you said, that's how nature works. Nature works quantum mechanically, and to wrap your head around it is something difficult, but yes, that's the way nature works. Now tell me, Francesco, once we have a working quantum computer, what could be the applications of the quantum computer?
Today, there are not real applications of quantum computing that can't be done with a supercomputer. Okay, but that's only half of the story. Okay. The other half is that there are applications such as secure quantum communication.
So there are quantum technology applications that have no rival in classical world. At the moment, even it had been showed that it is superior to classical computing. So for even it was shown that quantum computing is superior than classical computing. There is still a need of hardware that can support its potentiality.
You have been someone who is vested in nuclear physics, quantum computing, but now you are getting into the world of virtual reality, the metaverse. Now the entire metaverse is in a hype cycle because Facebook rebranded to Meta, and they've become, from a social media company, they want to be a metaverse first company. So what was the transition? Why did you from physics get into virtual reality and metaverse? What was the nudge for you to explore virtual reality and metaverse?
Computer science, in reality, it is physics. And the principle of Church 2 has been rewritten by David Deutsch in physical terms. For this reason, every computer science application are based on a physical system. So they hide a physical system. But in this, the metaverse applications seems to be application that can violate physical laws. But in reality, this is the most interesting aspect of the connection between metaverse and physics. Because it is by studying if it is possible to simulate a world in which the physics is different from our physics, that we will understand really the basis of our physics. So, shortly, the reason for I entered in Metaverse is to complete the connection between physics and computer science.
Okay, sorry, but this is a very articulate answer for me, so I prefer to give it in Italian. And
the universe, it runs with a certain physical law. With the metaverse, the physics laws, the physical law of that world can be completely redefined and recreated by us. And we are, maybe with the metaverse, the intention is to create a virtual world in lines with the physical world. So yes, I think somebody who understands physics will be able to play a greater role in the metaverse, in building the metaverse, and maybe somehow while you are doing it, maybe you will also understand a physical world better while building the metaverse. Maybe we'll understand, because we still are grappling with a unification of theory. We still trying to find a unified theory of physics with string theory, with theory of everything, and we're still quite far away. But maybe while we build a virtual world, maybe we'll have more answers, because in the virtual world, the entire physical law is going to be the law of physics is going to be completely upended, because in the metaverse there'll be people who'll be flying, we'll be breaking the laws of physics. So yes, I think we entering a fantastic point of time in history where maybe by building a virtual world, and we might be able to understand our physical world better. Now, tell me, you are the quantum computing expert at the School of Disruption, and you're using virtual reality to create quantum computing courses. So people can understand better. People can better understand quantum computing with virtual reality. So can you talk about some of your courses that you have built at the School of Disruption, and how is it helping students in understanding and learning quantum computing?
First of all, I'm using the Metaverse, the Metaverse, or rather the Metaverse technologies in different ways to popularize quantum computing. And I'm planning to develop this project much more with SIDI. At the moment, I have developed 6 projects on CoSpaces. CoSpaces is portals using virtual reality, where you can build a virtual reality project, and XR educational environment where students can interact with my virtual quantum computing experiments. Then I made some preliminary videos from my studio on Portals. Portals is a Metaverse platform, okay, linked to Solana blockchain, and published them on my YouTube channel.
The idea is to bring this quantum computing experiment on a Metaverse portal in order to interact directly with students. Okay, so because we still haven't found a Metaverse portal that is specific for quantum computing experiments. So these are still 2 distinct words: the experiment, the word of experiment, and the word of Metaverse.
The virtual world of experiment.
The virtual world of experiment and the word of Metaverse portals. Okay. So what we have done with SIDI is a classical course of quantum computing made with videos, and in addition some experiments that can be accessed on CoSpace, and we can receive students in the studio in portals, the Metaverse the Metaverse. Okay. But this is it is not a totally completed activity, and we have plans for it in the next years.
Excellent, Francesco, because I think your course on quantum computing with virtual reality in the metaverse, I think it's the first of its kind in the world, because I don't know of anybody else. At least I don't know. I have not seen anybody else who's teaching quantum computing in the metaverse. So we wish you the very best, and I hope that it reaches more people. You mentioned that the course is linked onto the Solana blockchain. Maybe talk about that, how you doing that, and maybe also explain what SIDI is, because not many people know about the School of Disruption. So maybe if you can talk about SIDI and how you are linking it to the Solana blockchain.
SIDI is an international school with high-level courses dedicated to people that are not even to the not experts of the sectors. Okay. Yes. And the purpose of our quantum computing course is to teach quantum computing even to people that have no strong mathematical basis.
And
not physical, not mathematical and physical basis. but not to only speak about it in superficial terms, but to give the real basis in order to really understand what quantum computing is.
Okay.
Oh, Solana Portals is a metaverse portal on the blockchain Solana, and buying a card that this card is an NFT. You can have access to this portal, and you can have one personal room. You can how to say put pictures. You can put NFTs, and you can't put your experiment at the moment on your room in Solana. So you can, for example, take a picture of your experiment and put it on your room in Solana, in Solana, so in portals. But you still can't do your own experiment in your room in portals, and you can even receive posts in your room. So if even if a person doesn't have an account on Solana and doesn't have the card, the NFT that allows to have a room and to enter this portal that is called Portals, you can invite him in your personal room, and you can be equally there.
Right. How cool is that? Because I think we are getting into a world where, as an educationist, you can use blockchain and you can tokenize or mint your education curriculum as an NFT, and with the metaverse, I think we can have a global school where students from India, students from Africa, students from America, students from Italy, exactly, from Italy, all can sit in one space and learn from each other and grow. I think we sitting in an exciting point of time. Now tell me, what is the future roadmap for you, Francesco? How do you think you are going to use metaverse, virtual reality, and the courses you have designed in the future to create better quality education?
So our idea is to use all the instruments of virtual realities. Okay. Most of all, directly the 3D vision and even the touch system, in order that students can directly interact with the virtual laboratory. So the idea is not to realize a storytelling, but a real laboratory in which students can interact and with people like Francesco or other can explain and teach students. Because Francesco really believes in the laboratory as a teaching and a learning instrument, but these laboratories are very expensive. So the use of virtual reality will allow people from any part of the world to access this laboratory.
Right. How awesome is that? I think, yes, we are going into a point of time where education itself will be democratized. Like I was saying earlier, there'll be teacher. I mean, Francesco, you sitting in Italy, my son possibly sitting in India, and others around the world, learning from the best and creating innovation, like you said, in those laboratories, those virtual laboratories where you through metaverse, haptic feedback, you'll be able to touch, feel, doing an experiment. And yes, the price points will be not like or traditional brick and mortar schools, which are very, very expensive. Francesco, could you maybe talk a little bit more on the healthcare applications of this, which could happen in the future? Because you have been leveraging computation for medicine. So how do you see the metaverse shaping up for healthcare? What could be the applications in the healthcare for metaverse?
First of all, we will talk about an application of quantum computing for healthcare that could be very relevant. That is the possibility to realize the personalized medicine, drugs and medicine that can be personalized, because quantum computing will allow us to solve calculations that will allow us to create specific drugs that now this calculation are solved by classical computers in years and years, and quantum computers will solve this calculation in seconds. So for this reason, it will be possible to realize personalized drugs. Metaverse applications, the application of medicine in metaverse. Okay. So the other great application is the possibility to make a remote medical visit, not only, for example, looking at a CT. The result of
computer tomography,
the result of a computer tomography, but even touching with having a complete visit, seeing and touching the person that has to be visited.
Right. How awesome. We are getting into a world where instead of us going to the hospital with the metaverse, the hospital will be coming to us. We will not need to step out. And I think the same thing will happen with education or work. There'll be instead of us stepping out to go to work, the metaverse will bring the work to us. Even the education will bring to us. In fact, my son studies in India's first metaverse school. So he doesn't have to step out, he doesn't have to go below, wait for the bus goes to the school is 4 or 5 hours, and then he comes back home. Instead of that, he just wakes up in the morning, jumps in front of his computer and attends his school online. And I think in the next couple of years, with virtual reality headsets possibly maybe becoming as maybe like the glasses which I'm wearing right now with haptic feedbacks, we'll actually be in that world that you're talking about, healthcare, where a doctor will be able to attend to us from a remote area through the help of 5G and virtual reality. And so yes, we are getting into an exciting space. And what I'm seeing is that artificial intelligence is also good. Do you think quantum computing could play a role in creating artificial general intelligence?
In this moment, there is a very hype and interest in quantum machine learning. That is very interesting, but this will be probably not the point of arrival. Okay. So Francesco believes that the point is another. 70 years ago, we have understood that the intelligence depends on the connection between our neurons in the brain. Okay. And we have modeled this concept of intelligence as something classical in our neural network. Okay. But some scientists like Penrose have hypothesized and partially demonstrated that what happens in our brains is a quantum process. A quantum process is a process in which it is maintained the quantum coherence. The quantum coherence. So all the physics is quantum physics, but we speak about quantum physics when the coherence is maintained. Okay. So if, as we believe, this is real, In order to recreate intelligence, we have to create networks with quantum processes. Otherwise, we will not obtain exactly our intelligence.
There's this physicist from MIT. His name is Seth Lloyd, and he had written a book which said that universe is a quantum computer. Now there are people such as Elon Musk and many other, Joshua Bach, Donald Hoffman, are now saying that the entire universe could be a simulation. What are your views on something like that, when people say that everything that we see, experience, is nothing but simulated?
These are very interesting topics. I think one of the first paper about this topic is around 2000.
I'm working, Francesco is working on this topic. In particular, he is working on the theoretical demonstration if it is possible or not to simulate a reality. He believes that the real problem is to understand what really is
self-awareness.
And many physics have investigated on what self-awareness is, because the physics seems to have been arrived to a limit. There are things that can't be understood without understanding what self-awareness is. And this is similar to the first physical revolution, in which Descartes have separated the physical world from the sensation world, from the internal world. And now we have to join together these two aspects, so the physical world and the internal world, the feeling world, to really understand what physics is. So the problem of the simulation that is to understand if we are living in a simulation. That is a problem that was already studied by Platon. Is about our self-awareness, our free will.
Francesco, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. I wish we had the Google glasses. There's Google glasses. They're working on Google glasses, which does live translation, where you wear the glasses and the AI algorithm kind of understands what the other person is speaking. So we could have done that interview in a way where you are speaking in Italian, I'm speaking English, but we both could understand it. But I think we're getting into a world where technology is going to make life more and more easier. But yes, I think we need to tread carefully, because things are growing beyond our control, because there is always the big tech companies, which is run by the venture capitalist, and they create technology which is that creates which functions for profit at any cost and is not aligned where technology should be human first. But I hope that where more people join in, there's more conversations. There's more conversations from Italy, more conversations from India and around the world, and make people understand that if people join force, we can all question the wrongs of the big tech companies, which has been hoarding and manipulating our data, so we can change the conversation, and that is slowly happening with the help of things like Metaverse, maybe like Web 3.0, blockchain and things like that. So thank you for being part of the podcast. My last question is, you are using Metaverse for the education. Where do you see the future of this? How do you, if you had to say by 2030 what the world will look like with Metaverse and quantum computing and artificial intelligence, what would you have to say? What would the world look like by 2030 if we create a technology which benefits everyone? And what is your roadmap? What is your vision? What do you want to create?
What Francesco sees is a world that make everyday life free from technology. And will allow people to live completely the relationship with others, with nature, with all around them. But on the other side, there will exist a technological level, a technological layer that will allow us to live like a world community, all together and connected.
Thank you, Francesco. Yes, I think we have to tread carefully, because here is the technology which is growing out of our hand, and it could create a dystopian future also. So yes, we need to be very careful on where we go, and I think like our mobiles, we have become so we cannot do without our mobiles, and we have been addicted to it. I think we need to find that right balance where we take the technology, use it for a good, not get addicted to it. So yes, we need to create that right balance. So thank you, Francesco. Really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. I like I said, I think you're the first individual who's using virtual reality for education, specifically so that people can understand quantum computing. I wish you a lot of success, and to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button, and until next time, see you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you, Francesco. Really appreciate this.
Welcome. It was really a pleasure for me.